So what really led me to go get the sleep study is what kind of triggered everything was just a justification of symptoms after a long time. I was always tired. Narcolepsy is a disease that affects your ability to get good sleep at night and then your ability to be awake during the day. Justifying my symptoms for so long, I was a college athlete. And so in college, I was like, oh, of course I'm tired. Of course I'm experiencing all of this because I have practice and school and a social life and I'm trying to juggle all the things. And to be honest, I thought that was going to be the solution because I kept waking myself up at night, not being able to breathe. And so I went in thinking I had sleep apnea. That's like my husband. That sounds like my husband, honestly.
Welcome to the Unfiltered Minds Podcast, the only culturally diverse podcast where we discuss ways to destigmatize mental health, as well as promote self-seeking behaviors amongst our youth and family members struggling with ADHD or depression. Now, here's your host, Jane Levy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unfiltered Mind Podcast. Again, this is a platform where we discuss ways to destigmatize mental health, as well as promote self-help seeking behaviors amongst our youth and their family members. Today, we're pleased to announce to you our lovely guest. Renee have joined us today to share her story. Renee, without further ado, please introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background to our viewers and our listeners.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jane. My name is Renee Yomtob, and my mental health journey really started I was probably 26 when I was first diagnosed with kind of everything at once. I was diagnosed with narcolepsy, a neurological disease. I was told I'd live with forever, PTSD, and ADHD, all within the same year, which at one point felt very validating, to be like, oh, yeah, it's not me. I'm not crazy for thinking that things are hard and I'm not living life the full way. And from there, I just really started seeking for myself. I've done so many different modalities to really bring myself into an optimal way of living. I've worked with naturopaths. I've been on certain diets. I've been on so many supplements I can't count. I've done cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR. I got my brain scanned by one of those schmancy places. I just tried all the things. And what really worked for me, I think, was a little bit of everything that led to this point. But what worked for me was a combination of neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis. Really helped me look at my relationship to all of these symptoms a different way.
Wow, interesting. So you were pretty much diagnosed with ADHD at a very late age.
Very late, yeah. Yes, I think when I told all of my family, they were like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what subtype were you diagnosed with? They have inattention, and they have the impulsive, and then the hyperactivity.
It was, do you know the Amen Clinic? They're based out of OC. They did the brain scan, and he breaks it down into like 7, 8, or 9 different types of ADHD. And I had 7, and I don't really know fully what that means. But I know the ways that it was showing up for me and, the systems I've had to implement in my life because of it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So my son was diagnosed when he was in 6th grade. He was diagnosed with the inattention, ADHD. So for him, medication worked, but also I help him also with those executive function skills and to help him with organization, prioritization, and time management. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Prior to your diagnosis, I know you have a lot of things going on with you, a lot of diagnoses going on with you. What were your symptoms?
So what really led me to go get the sleep study is what kind of triggered everything, was just a justification of symptoms after a long time. I was always tired. Narcolepsy is a disease that affects your ability to get good sleep at night, and then your ability to be awake during the day. So it was a 24-hour disease. And when you're not getting good sleep and you're not rested, I was experiencing a lot of depression, anxiety, all the things that come with one diagnosis is like a bunch of other diagnoses. And so that was the main one, that led me to go get a sleep study right away, because I was, again, just justifying my symptoms for so long. I was a college athlete. And so in college, I was like, oh, of course I'm tired. Of course I'm experiencing all of this because I have practice and school and a social life, and I'm trying to juggle all the things. And then I graduated and went to a nice corporate job and climbed the corporate ladder and got to where I wanted to be. And I was like, of course I'm tired. I'm in corporate America. Everybody's tired. And then I took a little sabbatical and I moved to the city I've always wanted to move to. I gave myself a few months to not work, and I was exhausted. And that was the point where I was like, okay, now there's really no like reason for me to be experiencing this. Like something must be wrong. So I went and got the sleep study and was told I have narcolepsy. And then from there, that's really what started seeking health in any way I could find it. And then from there, I went to other doctors because I didn't want to believe, I didn't want to believe that I had this forever neurological disease. So I went to other doctors, and that's where I got the ADHD and PTSD diagnoses.
Second options, huh?
Yes.
Yes. So walk us through that process. So when you find out something was wrong at 26 and you started doing those, did you go first to your primary care physician and they referred you, or how did that work?
I was really grateful to be surrounded by family that had kind of navigated the medical system in a way where they just encouraged me, just go directly to the sleep study. I was a generally healthy person, in terms of exercise and what I consume. Like, I knew I was doing all the things that we're told to do for health. And so I knew something was off in my sleep because I was waking myself up at night. And so I just went directly to a sleep study, which was really great because narcolepsy, what I've learned over the years, is a diagnosis, like a lot, that gets missed. People go through a lot of other ones. So I think it was really, really amazing that I was able to just go straight to the source.
Thank you for sharing that. For the ADHD, once you were diagnosed, you knew that you had ADHD. What treatment plan did you find that was very effective for you? Did you do stimulants, medication? What worked for you at 26? So
what worked for me, I haven't gone on medication up to this point. I started with a bunch of supplements, again, from, and I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but the Amen Clinic or the Amen Clinic. He's a neuro guy out of OC, and he has his own brand of supplements that support with all of the different specific things that the ADHD brain needs. So I went on that. It's hard to know. I threw everything at it, that it's hard to know what it was. Like, what were the things that worked, because you just throw the kitchen sink and like hope something sticks, and something did. I'm not quite sure what it was all at once, but something helped my narcolepsy, and then it helped because I was getting rest, that I wasn't, feeling such low lows, and I wasn't really feeling as anxious. And then I was able to really focus on my day-to-day behaviors and how ADHD shows up, because I wasn't even able to look at that until my sleep was handled,
To be honest with you, I need 6 hours of sleep. And if I don't have 6 hours of sleep, I can't function. So I can imagine the constant battle.
It was a rough time, but it got me here. So we did it.
Let me ask you a question. When you did the sleep study, were you ever placed on CPAP machine?
No. And to be
Okay.
honest, I thought that was going to be the solution, because I kept waking myself up at night, not being able to breathe. And so I went in thinking I had sleep apnea and put up like 52 different nodes all over my body and just asked me to sleep every couple hours, which I was
Yeah.
very good at.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that. And then afterwards, the doctor told me that he didn't really present the medication in a way that made me really want it. So he presented it saying, this one medication is your only opportunity to feel 10% better. And he
hmm
compared it to the date rape drug. He said, this is your only option, and it works like the date rape drug. And I was
Oh,
like, I
wow.
don't think I want that. Like, that's not for me, I don't think.
Yeah.
Which was bizarre. It's this medication that's specifically for narcolepsy, and once you take it, you're wiped out. So once you take it, you have to be in bed in 15 minutes because it'll just knock you out. You can't drink alcohol with it, which is okay. I don't really drink anyway.
Right.
You can't take it around anybody that you're not totally safe with because you're knocked out for 3 full hours. Then you'd wake up, have to take it again, then be totally knocked out. Uh, Again, like to where you don't always hear fire alarms. One woman I know who was on it, I met her in a support group. She like broke her neck because she fell off the bed and didn't wake up. So I just kept hearing all of these, just how that one specific medication was presented to me didn't entice me to take it. And that's when I started seeking all other remedies and forms of health.
You mentioned something about support group. What support groups that was that specifically?
I went to a couple. There was one, and I think it's still going on. It's a narcolepsy conference that happens every year. So it happens in person, and they have healthcare professionals, they have nutritionists, people with their own stories and how they've overcome their symptoms. So that was nice to just kind of be around other people again, just to have it validated a little bit of what you're living with. And then I started going to support groups in my town as well, which was really a unique experience in itself. I think support groups can be so amazing for people, and maybe you just have to find the right one. For me, it was just a very invalidating experience that I only went a couple times.
The main reason of support groups is really you're surrounded by people who are actually experiencing the same struggles as you. They can relate to you. If you really find the one that really works for you, it can be beneficial. And that's the reason why we have this here. Your story today
Yes.
might resonate with somebody else.
Yes, yes. I'm so glad, Jane, that you bring so many different stories on, because I remember when I was in like the lows, like the lowest lows of feeling, and I just wanted somebody to tell me I could feel better, like that this wouldn't be forever, that there was like some little hope at the end of the tunnel. And I just couldn't find it. So I'm so glad you're bringing like people of all different backgrounds on to kind of share that message with people when they're not feeling their greatest.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Thank you so much for that. We do know ADHD itself, the symptoms can be managed with meds, but
Mm-hmm.
you also have a part of it where you have to deal with the executive function skills. I
Mm-hmm.
know you have a coaching services, but for yourself right now, what structure do you currently have in place to help you
Mm-hmm.
manage those executive function skills?
There are little things that I've just picked up along the way. Like for me, it very much, even in how I organize my house, I don't really keep anything that I don't use, because and it's all where I can see it, because if I can't see it, it just like doesn't exist. So our shelves, our books, everything I can just see. That's one way. And then oh my goodness, so much less clutter. That was huge. I was so cluttery when I was growing up. So that's been that's been like a big step for sure. Everything has its place. Everything has its systems. For me, putting a loose structure with flexibility has really helped. Like specifically in the morning, I give myself an hour where I can do whatever I want. And it's an hour for me. So the routine helps, but then I'm not like stuck in a rigid routine. So for me, it's like every morning in that hour, I can read, I can journal, I can meditate, I can do yoga, I can do laundry, I can straighten up the kitchen, whatever it is, like that's the hour for me. And so kind of playing with this idea of like loose structure and flexibility has really been what's been working for me.
So what kind of yoga do you do?
I do, I'm a traditional Hatha Yoga teacher. So I bring in asana, pranayama, breath work, and then meditation as well, which has also just been so amazing for my brain and my mind and my ability in the moment to notice when my mind is really going and notice that that's not who I am. That's just something that's happening. So the meditation practice, I really recommend to everybody that has a breath, not just people who have ADHD, but especially people who are trying to manage any sort of, like for me, I have a lot of chatter up here. Anyone that's trying to manage a lot of chatter, meditation can be so powerful to detach from that. And even if it happens, to be able to watch it rather than be in it.
I do hot yoga myself. I used to do it 6 days a week. I was so obsessed with it.
Jane, that's a lot. Good for you.
That was my me time.
That's amazing. Do you still go?
I still go. I used to go 6 days a week, and then I just started feeling dizzy all of a sudden, and I cut it down to 4 days a week now.
Yes, it's so amazing you found a type that really speaks to you, you know, that it's so much of a practice, as you know, too, where I think a lot of times I hear new people going into yoga and they think it has to be a certain way. And it's like, no, it's a practice, and it really allows you to practice these skills off the mat too. You know, it's very much a mirrored experience. It's just kind of a more controlled environment to practice in.
It's very stress reliever. So you and I know nutrition can play an important role in managing symptoms of ADHD or any other mental illnesses or your overall well-being. Sugar restriction, did you do any? I know you said you've done a lot of diets.
Not eating. I've done a lot. I did a bunch of food allergy tests and stool tests and all the tests basically. I got rid of foods that I had a little heightened reaction to. So I minimize gluten. I don't really eat dairy too much. Mushrooms, blueberries, really random ones. Other diets I've tried was no nightshades. That was a big one that was introduced to me through the narcolepsy conference for autoimmune diseases.
What is it called again? What's that diet called?
I just didn't eat nightshade vegetables. So like eggplants, tomatoes, bell peppers. The idea behind it, and I know you'll have people on here that can like speak so much better to this than I can, but apparently there's something in the skin of these vegetables when they're grown at night that our body tries to fight. It's like lectin or something. So it's this chemical that our body kind of has an inflammation process with, which, you know, especially for narcolepsy, but other symptoms as well. Anytime our body's inflamed, it's not really working at its best. So I tried that one for a bit. I'm not really strict with it. The thing that I really notice the most is when I have refined sugar, I really notice it. So I try to not do any sugar added to foods. So anything, I'm definitely not perfect and I do things in moderation. But I try to minimize anything where sugar's added, like processed foods and packaged snacks and chips and all the things I just love so
I
much.
know. They're so good. But
They're
you
so
gotta
good.
you
Yeah.
gotta stay away from me. Yeah. But I think what you did was elimination diet has shown to reduce symptoms of ADHD where you actually eliminate some food and you
Mm,
gradually reintroduce it again and just see if it has any advisory effect on you. I guess that's what you did. But
yeah.
yeah. So
What's worked for your son so far, Jane? What diet has worked for him?
well, he's a teenager. It's a typical teenager. And what I try to do, honestly, is our job as parents to feed your children nutritionist food. I
Mm-hmm.
don't buy a lot of junk food at home. I never did sodas. I never did juice. But again, he's a teenager. When he's out there with his friends and he's going to buy whatever he wants to eat. But for the most part, I try to feed them the right food.
Mm,
And I learned that from my mom because I remember when I came here when I was 17 back from Africa, and the way we ate back in Africa was different. When I came here, my mom was very health conscious because she
mm,
has high blood pressure. She was watching what she ate, and she just cooked healthy meals.
mm,
And
mm-hmm.
for some time, we didn't eat those meals, but eventually we got the started eating it.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I also have those same mindset. I cook healthy
Mm,
meals. That was instilled in me at a very young age. I saw my mom doing it. So nutrition is really important in the household, especially when kids are growing up. It's whatever
yeah.
you present to them is what they eventually grew up with.
Yeah. That your kiddo has some healthy, nutritious food.
Yes. And then when he's out there now, he's on his own. But meds work for him as well.
Mm, mm-hmm.
But the thing is, he doesn't like to take the medication.
Mm,
So what I did, he's on a very low dose stimulant medication when he goes to school. But we have medication holidays on the weekends and then during the summer break.
oh, it's amazing that you
Yeah.
found a system that works for you too and works for him.
And with the messiness of the boys, things all over the place, and I'm on it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I ask you, what are you doing that worked for you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. All right. Moving along. Any dietary supplements? We're talking about zinc, vitamin B, omega-3 fatty acid. Any experience with that?
Gosh, I wish I had the name of the ones I was on from the Amen Clinic. I know there was something specifically about GABA. He's got a whole line of them, and I think they're full of a bunch of stuff. I'm just not quite sure what. And I haven't been taking those for a while. My normal is like fish oil, vitamin D, magnesium, but that's just more for some other health stuff rather than ADHD specifically.
Now, are those supplements he has at that clinic, are they FDA approved?
Good question. I'm not sure if they are. He runs a really big clinic. Are they 80? Good. I'm not sure. That'd be a good thing to look up and know. I'm definitely an experimenter, so I don't mind. So it's hard to say. I'll try, especially when I was in the throes of it. I'm like, I will try anything. Like you tell me to find a unicorn and ride it, I will do it. Like,
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Sometimes you just want to feel better. I'm glad you found something that worked for you. I'm
thank
glad.
you.
Yeah, yeah. So let's move along to the next. When you were growing up, I just talked about my experience growing up. Was nutrition a topic in your home growing up?
Not too much.
Okay.
I think my parents really did everything they knew to be true, and back then it was very much of the food pyramid was what we were working on, which now has been maybe debunked a little bit, right? On like what's important and the era I was growing up, it was big into fad diets as well, just in terms of what like Atkins diet. Everyone was trying all of these things. And so that was really the focus. We would just try all these new diets, not necessarily for health purposes, but just because everyone was doing it. Um, my parents did cook a lot, which was so lovely to do. And then we also really liked our snacks. So we would have like goldfish and Cheez-Its. And gosh, there was a time in middle school, I look back now, where I had like a whole can of soda a day. for like so long. It was crazy. And I was an athlete. I just can't even imagine now.
How long have you been married for, if you don't mind asking?
Yeah, we got married in 2022.
Yeah.
We're celebrating, let's see, it'll be 13 or 14 years together total this year. So we were together a long time, then engaged a couple years, and somewhat recently married.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks. I
Good.
kind of like him.
Kind of like him, right? If he's
Yeah.
good, he's a keeper.
Yeah.
It's tough out here to find the good ones. So if you have one, please keep him. Thank you for sharing that, Renee.
Yes.
There is somebody watching this who is saying, do I need to hire a coach? Do I need to go to a therapist, right? To help me or my kid with their executive function skills? What would you say to them?
I would say there are so many roads to health and to feeling better. And it's just finding whichever one works for you right now. At the beginning of my journey, I sought a specific type of therapy and I wasn't interested in a coach. And then towards the end, I did want a coach. You know, at the beginning, I wasn't interested in certain modalities. And towards the end, I found a new capacity for different modalities. So I think anywhere you can find support, and it's just really finding the support that feels right for you. Is it a nutritionist? Is it a coach? Is it cognitive behavioral therapy? So many roads can lead you to health. You just have to start one.
There also, we have our viewers who are also have families and friends. And I'm sure somebody is saying, what can friends or loved ones do to support someone who is struggling?
I was really grateful to have friends and family in my corner that were just rooting for me, even when they fully didn't understand it. I think one of the most powerful questions you can ask somebody who's going through a hard time is, how can I support you? Support to all of us looks so different. And just even opening up that question and being really frank about it can, as a person going through stuff, that can just feel so nice. And then you can maybe delegate a little bit, or even just knowing somebody's willing to offer support is all it takes. So I think that one question, how can I support you in this moment? How can I support you this month? How can I support you in this time of life, is so loving.
I always tell my friends I'm an open book, and I ask a lot for help. If I need help, I'm asking. But so for some people, that can be really tough for them to just say, hey, I need help. Can you give me a helping hand? You know?
You're so right, Jane. I think that is such a thing I for sure had to overcome too, was that asking for help wasn't a weakness. Asking for help is one of the strongest things you can do for yourself, because again, you're just furthering your own health down your path. So instead of stopping yourself from getting the help you need out of pride, or not wanting to need it, or to do it all on your own, or to think you have to do it alone, you don't have to. And there are people in your life that want to help. That's one of my favorite reframes for clients is, don't you love to help your friend? Like, if your friend was hurting, wouldn't you want to help them? So give your friends that gift. You know, that gift of being able to help you and to really deepen that relationship is just so special.
Well, thank you for sharing that. This brings us to our very last question. And a lot of times you hear people say, I can't just find the right therapist. I just can't find the right coach. There's just no connection, right? What are some skills or strategies did you use throughout your process? Because you saw a lot of healthcare professionals just to go through that vetting process. What worked for you?
I will say I'm a big believer. There's a quote within yoga, which is, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And we just kind of have to be ready and find it. I really like referrals too, like from trusted sources. And so everyone I've seen along the way was a referral from someone else. So I started cognitive behavioral therapy because I met someone random out in public who told me they were working with a sleep specialist therapist. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need. So then I went to him. He directed me to the narcoleptic conference every year. Then from there, I met this woman who told me about this specific food diet. Then I tried that. Then I went to her doctor for a little bit. And so I think vetting, I'm such a gut person, like really, I think a lot of the times what you feel with people right away, you can just go with. And sometimes this brain can get involved a little too much, the logic can come in, or what we perceive to be logic, but is just a bunch of doubts and procrastination and us not taking action. So I think knowing that it might take a little bit, especially for therapists, to know who feels right, going into it knowing that, kind of thinking of it as speed dating, right? Or, just I'm dating, I'm trying to figure it out, can be really empowering that you're interviewing them too. It's not just the other way around. You have the power to really build your health team with exactly who you want it to be at that time.
That's absolutely right. What is your perception about self-care? How important is self-care?
Self-care is so important. And I think it goes a lot deeper than how the media talks about it. Self-care, yes, is like bubble baths and like treating yourself, sure. But self-care is also, how are you setting yourself up for future success? Like, what can I do today to help my tomorrow self really thrive? Like, to me, that's so big in self-care. How can I really strengthen my word to myself? How can I really build the relationship with myself so my future self feels cared for, feels safe, has the tools to navigate whatever comes up? So self-care to me is building that relationship with yourself. And it's the most important relationship we'll have in life.
And you did mention something about tools. I do always been intrigued about mental health. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of podcasting, and I go to a lot of seminars, webinars. And, what tools do you have in place just to help you fresh up on latest mental health topics, or help you with yourself, with what you're struggling mentally?
I'm a big learner like you too. So I'm all up on the audiobooks, the books. I love going to seminars and trainings and just learning new skills for myself and my clients. I really implement a lot of mental emotional release, which is a specific type of hypnosis that was clinically researched in comparison to cognitive behavioral therapy. So I'll utilize that. I utilize my yoga, asana, pranayama, meditation, and then hypnosis in itself. So really all of those are implemented daily for me just to keep that practice going. That's been all of it. And then who knows what's going to be next? I just want to keep learning, You
did mention hypnosis. You said that's what actually worked for you. Is that correct?
Yes.
What is hypnosis? Somebody's watching this. I have no idea about.
Ooh, I love that question. So our brain wavelengths go into like a mini trance every 90 minutes. And it probably does more often than that. If you've ever had the experience of driving from work to home and you're like, whoa, I don't even remember driving at all. You were in a little bit of a trance. Like any of these mundane tasks that we do daily, our brain wavelength drops into a little bit of a trance. And that's when our unconscious mind is like so primed, and our unconscious mind just runs the ship of our behaviors, any change we want to see. And so what hypnosis does is it drops us into this like really primed state to hear what we really need to hear to help us within our health. So with my clients, I utilize hypnosis for whatever their specific goals are. Like, let's say they want better sleep at night. Maybe in hypnosis, the post-hypnotic suggestions, while their unconscious mind is really hearing it, is all about how they're going to get in their bed and feel really comfortable and safe. And as soon as they shut their eyes, they're going to feel this like deep wave of sleep coming over them. It's just a way to kind of talk directly to the unconscious mind.
Yeah.
So our conscious mind can just stay out of it, because our conscious mind is like, well, but what about that? And what about that? And what about that one time I didn't sleep well? And we're just bypassing that and going directly to the source.
Nice. And that's one of the services. The hypnosis is one of the services you currently provide, right?
Yeah.
What other services do you provide? Do you have a plan? Tell us, like somebody's watching this and they say they want to reach out to Renee. Mm-hmm. What services do you currently provide?
I have a couple one-on-one spots that are coming up next month, where we work on really whatever specifically they're wanting to accomplish. So utilizing, again, hypnosis, mental emotional release, neurolinguistic programming, and traditional Hatha Yoga, kind of combining all of it to really help them overcome whatever hurdles they have so they can really live the life they want to. And in addition to that, next month, I'll be rolling out a group coaching program as well, where it will start with a breakthrough session. So bringing up all the stuff, all the unconscious past baggage, beliefs about your ability to heal, your ability to be successful, whatever that is, releasing it with mental emotional release, and then using all of these other tools and skills to stay on track and reach those goals. So I'll have that group program running next month.
I'm going to tell them the website where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me at reneeyomtob.com. And I'm also going to be having everything in my Instagram as well, including a free download that they can access that really works with the unconscious mind and allowing them to feel an empowered, confident, excited state anytime they want to, which is something I know I wanted when I was feeling really low. It was just like little breaks of feeling better.
I'm sure.
And so that download is going to give you a resource to do just that.
Appreciate that. And on behalf of the team at the Unfiltered Mind podcast, we just want to amazingly thank you for your time. And we do hope that as you have joined us today and share your story, we hope that our viewers and our listener will resonate with your story and just give somebody some hope. We don't want people to survive. We want people to strive to be the best version of themselves.
Thank you, Jane. And on behalf of the world, thank you for the work you do.
Yes. And to our viewers, thank you so very much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys on another episode. Have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Unfiltered Minds podcast. If you love what you're learning on our podcast, we ask that you please join the Unfiltered Minds community by subscribing and sharing our podcast on YouTube, or you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Our dedicated team of ADHD coaches are committed to making a positive impact on the lives of our listeners. Through our thought-provoking podcast, we offer valuable resources, PBT training for ADHD, and a supportive community that understands the journey of mental health challenges. Also, you can visit our website at theunfilteredminds.com, where you can sign up to be a guest on our podcast, as well as sign up for our 8-week parent behavior training course on ADHD.